First, you must ask yourself, are you wealthy?
Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you are watching Flick Connection, and today I want to tell you about the new Netflix original movie, The Laundromat. Now, right off the bat, I liked this movie. I was surprised at how much I liked it, and I'm going to explain why in fairly significant detail without spoiling anything in the movie. Now, for starters, The Laundromat is directed by Steven Soderberg, if that name sounds familiar. He is famous for directing Oceans 11, 12, and 13, Unsane, Contagion, Traffic, Magic Mike, and Logan Lucky. Ton of movies, really great director. And the thing I've always liked about Steven Soderberg is all of his movies are different. They all have a different feel. You can barely tell that he's the director of all those different movies. And The Laundromat is no exception. It feels very different. Not only does it not feel like anything he's done before, it feels very different than anything anybody's ever done before, and I'm going to explain that in more detail. Now, the movie stars Gary Oldman, Antonio Banderas, Meryl Streep. They're all great in it, but the movie has an amazing supporting cast with people like Robert Patrick, Jeffrey Wright, and Sharon fucking Stone. I think easily the best ensemble cast ever put in a Netflix original movie. And for starters, Gary Oldman and Antonio Banderas make this incredible pair. The movie starts off with this very long shot that's really well done. They've got this amazing sort of cartoonish yet theatrical performance that are all done in these like long takes. I would have watched the movie had it been only about them. They were absolutely fantastic. Meryl Streep is gonna get some cred for this movie, but I don't consider her to be the greatest actress on the face of the earth. I mean, I'm not saying she's not a good actress, but I would take Helen Mirren in this role over Meryl Streep any day, and I'm not the only person that thinks so.
Oh, that Meryl Streep, she's such a phony baloney.
Now, this is based on a true story about these shell companies that got uncovered through this series of events, and this very much plays out like an anthology film. Now, it is not. It's glued together much better than most anthology films, yet you get these asides that are absolutely wonderful with really great performances, really great stories, and then there's this glue that is the Gary Oldman and Antonio Banderas moments, and then sort of the Meryl Streep story that threads throughout. So it's kind of a hybrid of a straightforward narrative and an anthology flick. It's just not quite as tight as a straightforward narrative might have been. But I'm not mad at that. I thought it was really unique, and I enjoyed sort of the different feel that provided. And it maintains a really light and fun vibe for most of the movie, despite the really heavy subject matter. I mean, these are people doing horrible things, lies, deceit, cheating, stealing. This movie's very much about greed, and it just has this sort of like levity to it that I thought worked surprisingly well. Now, the closest movie I could relate to this would be The Big Short. This is a similar topic, but a different one, yet it is very much about greed. And whenever I watch a movie that I'm enjoying like this one, that is a subgenre that's about a specific topic, like drugs or something like that, I often wondered, will this make it into the top 10 of that subgenre? And I do think that The Laundromat will definitely be, it is a top 10 movie about greed. There's not a ton of them, but think Wolf of Wall Street, The Big Short, Wall Street. It's probably not as good as any of those three, but it's close, and it's got some mixed reviews, and we'll get into that in the spoiler section of this review. But ultimately what it's really about is these two men that set up these shell companies that then facilitate greed on behalf of other people, and then the destruction that greed, that fueled greed, creates in all sorts of other people's lives, and sort of how it branches out. And I think if that is really what the movie's about, and I think it is, it worked perfectly. I think it worked really great. Now, for kind of a mild spoiler, it's not going to spoil anything that happens in the movie, but the final moments of this movie kind of let me down, and it's because it got way too preachy, and it's preachy from people who are largely guilty of some of the stuff depicted in this movie, that being Hollywood elites.
I just want to thank my agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein.
Now, the movie closes out with a quote that reads, "In 2018, 60 of the largest companies in the USA paid no taxes on pre-tax income of $79 billion. Now, this is true. However, it is immensely misleading because the entire movie has been about these shell companies and the uber wealthy cheating the system with offshore companies and bank accounts. Closing the movie with this quote suggests that these companies are using the American tax system to cheat Americans, and it's not the case. The truth of the matter is these companies are behaving the way the government wants them to through these tax incentives. If the government did not value their behavior, the way that they're behaving through the tax incentives more than they value the tax dollars, they would change it, and they don't. It's not apples to apples, it's not the same thing, and it's just kind of like, to me, it took away from the message of the movie that I thought was really, really well done and really well communicated throughout, so it's unfortunate. However, I really did enjoy it. It's one of the better projects I think that has been a Netflix original in a while, just because it's really well-rounded, really great cast, it looks beautiful. Steven Soderberg is just a really brilliant storyteller, and it's not my favorite movie of his, but I love all of his work, and this one is, again, no exception. So if you liked that review, let me know in the comments below. If you liked the movie, if you didn't like my non-political statement at the end, you can let me know that stuff in the comments below as well. Here are all the Patreon supporters that keep this channel running. And if you'd like to learn more about becoming one, follow the link in the description. I give them additional movie recommendations for patrons only. So go over there, check it out, see if that's something you'd like to do. But I will keep making movie reviews like this one as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking this one out, and you will see me on the next one.